Every other state in America worries about snow. Florida worries about sunshine. While other states built inward, Florida built outward toward the ocean. Where other states grew through generations of families, Florida grew through East Coast migration. Most states fear winter storms. Florida fears their summer heat. Other states have mountains and valleys, while Florida's highest point is only 345 feet. Here's the thing, Florida isn't just different, it's the opposite of how American states are supposed to work. Colorado was built around Denver because there was gold in the mountains. Pennsylvania was built around Pittsburgh because there was coal and steel. Texas was built around oil fields. Florida did the exact opposite. The entire state faces the ocean. 1,350 miles of coastline on 3 sides. No mountains, no coal, no oil. The valuable resource in Florida is the coastline. Everything flows toward the water. Ports, marinas, beachfront highways, the coast is the infrastructure. Cruise terminals in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, beach highways from Pensacola to Key West, airports designed to drop tourists directly at the beach. The state's entire economic system pumps toward the coast. That reliance on the coastline creates a risk for Florida's future. When Florida's coast goes underwater, the entire state's value proposition drowns with it. When Pennsylvania's steel industry collapsed, Pittsburgh reinvented itself. The city still existed, the land was still there. Other states can afford to ignore their edges. Florida's edges are the state. Michigan sells cars, Texas sells oil, California sells software. Florida, on the other hand, Florida sells time, vacation time, retirement time, a version of yourself living in paradise. You can't export that. You have to come and consume it. That inversion rewrites the entire economic model. Tourism brings in $112 billion a year. Theme parks, beaches, cruises, hotels. But underneath that is the real engine. A services economy built on bodies. Hospitality workers, healthcare workers for Florida's massive retiree population. Construction crews building the next wave of luxury towers. When an oil refinery shuts down in Texas, the oil in the ground doesn't go anywhere. Whereas if Florida's tourism collapses, the revenue just vanishes. A bad hurricane season can leave hotels empty for months. COVID-19, for example, erased $67 billion in a single year. You just can't stockpile vacation time and sell it later. The same stands true when it comes to Florida's agriculture. The wetlands allow oranges, grapefruit, and sugarcane to grow, but one major freeze can destroy decades of investment overnight. One farmer near Lakeland lost 40 years of work in the 1989 freeze. Every tree dead, and he never replanted. Instead, the land was sold to a developer at a loss. That's the Florida pattern. Nature disrupts, capital moves in, and the landscape transforms. Other states build economies on things that persist: factories, mines, data centers. Florida built its economy on sensations that evaporate the moment you leave. Most American wetlands are swamps, stagnant water, low oxygen, and decay. The Florida Everglades, on the other hand, is a river. But because it doesn't look like one, developers in the 20th century treated it like wasted land. Corporate greed took hold, and they ended up draining half of the Everglades for development projects. While other states protected their major rivers, the Mississippi, the Colorado, the Hudson, Florida plumbed its river dry and sold the land. The consequences show up everywhere. Seagrass beds dying off, coral reefs collapsing, fisheries collapsing. The marine-based ecosystem that props up Florida's $7.6 billion fishing industry is unraveling. But because Florida's economy runs on growth, the state continues approving new developments on whatever land is left. State legislators don't understand that the wetlands are the water supply. Lose them, and the aquifers turn to salt water, and in turn, the whole system collapses. Florida prioritizes population and tourism growth over the well-being of its own land. Other states grew from families who stayed put for generations, whereas Florida has done the opposite. It imported its population from everywhere else. 22 million residents and only 36 were born in the state. That's not just a lot of transplants like New York or LA, that's a majority of the state coming from somewhere else. retirees fleeing northern winters, seasonal snowbirds who own condos but live in Florida only a couple months a year. They strain infrastructure, skew voter rolls, and vanish when hurricanes hit. The result is a state that remakes itself every decade. Entire Florida counties turn over and housing demand swings wildly. Most states grow gradually. People move in, assimilate, and adopt local culture. Florida has no continuity. Your neighbor moved in last year from Ohio, and the condo building down the street is 90% snowbirds from Michigan. Other states evolve, while Florida churns. Minnesota, Michigan, and Vermont prepare for blizzards. State budgets account for snowplows and salt for the highways. Florida, on the other hand, prepares for its hot summers, which may lead to hurricanes. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June through November, 6 months of watching weather patterns and hoping the next Category 5 curves away at the last minute. Sea level has risen 8 inches in Miami since 1950, and projections show another 10 to 17 inches by 2050. That doesn't sound like much until you realize Florida's average elevation is 100 feet, and most of the population lives within 10 feet of sea level. High tides already flood streets in Miami Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Key West. Streets fill with seawater, cars stall, shops put sandbags at their doors, yet they're still building $50 million condos on the beach. Hurricanes are getting wetter, slower, and stronger. Category 4 and 5 storms are more common. Hurricane Ian in 2022 caused $112 billion in damage. Michael in 2018 erased entire towns in the Panhandle. Irma in 2017 triggered the largest evacuation in U.S. history. 6.5 million people fleeing north on jammed highways. Other states prepare for cold. Florida prepares for heat, flooding, wind, and the ocean swallowing neighborhoods whole. Most states plan public services around steady demand. Hospitals size their ERs for normal days. Schools budget for predictable enrollment. Infrastructure handles baseline load. Florida can't do that. It has to plan for spikes. The state has the second highest population over 65 in the country. That concentration rewrites everything. Hospitals become economic anchors. Long-term care facilities multiply. Medicare spending dwarfs most states. Then add seasonal surges. Florida's population jumps by 1 million snowbirds. Hotels fill. Emergency rooms strain. Summer brings tourists. Theme parks, beaches, cruises, another massive influx. Then hurricane season hits, and the entire system has to evacuate hundreds of thousands of people in 48 hours. Other states budget for consistency. Illinois knows roughly how many people will use O'Hare Airport next month. Michigan knows how many students will enroll in September. Florida budgets for chaos. The population swings 20% seasonally. Demand for services spikes unpredictably. And when disaster strikes, the entire state has to mobilize like a military operation. Florida is the opposite of other states in every way that matters. Other states build inward from resources. Florida built outward toward the edges. Other states sell things. Florida sells time. Other states have native populations. Florida imported everyone. Other states fear winter. Florida fears summer. Florida didn't choose to be the opposite. Geography chose for them. Climate chose for them. And now they're figuring out how to survive it. Do you want to see more videos about the vast geography in the United States? Hit subscribe and tune in to the next one.